In this video, we will be creating a sample schedule where samples and check standards can be entered. The setup of a sample schedule looks very similar to the calibration curve window. First, select the method you are going to use. For this example, we are using TOC. It's a good practice to check the calibration curve beforehand, so we will open the calibration curve editor. Here is an example of a calibration curve with 1, 5, 10, 25, 50, and 100 ppm of carbon. The latest method blank absorbent counts are stated. If you are not subtracting the blank, then manually type 0 in the latest method blank area, or choose to use the y-intercept on the right side of the screen. The average absorbent counts and the measured parts per million are shown in the table. If you do not like a point, you can rerun just that point. If the new point is better, you can drop the original point by unchecking the box next to it. Then use the new point by selecting its checkbox. On the y equals mx plus b linear curve, we recommend the m value to be greater than 240 and the b value to be less than 200. The coefficient of correlation requirement is up to the discretion of the user. Once the points are satisfactory, click Save at the bottom of the screen, and the newly saved calibration curve will be used. At this point, it is also possible to export to a PDF for review of the calibration curve. Now it is time to build the sample schedule. If the system has not run in a few hours, start off with at least one rinse to cleanse the system. If a blank is being used, add a vial of DI water in the corresponding spot on the carousel. For good laboratory practices, start with adding a check standard that is in the middle of the calibration curve. Select a concentration and a plus or minus value for the desired accuracy percentage. The number of replicates for the sample should match the calibration replicates. The next line in the sample schedule should start listing the samples. The sample ID can either be typed in or it can be imported from a CSV file. Once the samples are loaded into the schedule, run another check standard. It's always a good idea to bracket the samples with a check standard in between to make sure your calibration curve is still good. Note: when adding a check standard, it is not necessary to use the same check standard concentration every time. As you can see, populating the autosampler takes very little time and is not a complex task. Name and save the sample schedule, and then begin running the schedule by selecting the Start button. As the sample runs, results will begin to show in the results window at the bottom of the screen, and the peaks will show in the real-time viewing. Select the specific sample to see those results. This concludes the video on creating a sample schedule in the Lotix Combustion TOC TekLink software.